Joining us now from Washington, D.C. with a look at Axios AM, political reporter for Axios, Alexi McCammond. Alexi, great to have you with us on Wednesday. What is the one big thing for today?
Good morning to you guys, and thanks for having me. We hear a lot about how President Trump is spending gobs of money on digital ads at a national scale. But when you drill down and look at the local state-by-state breakdown, there's a totally different story being told. There's a major outside Democratic group called Priorities USA that is actually outspending President Trump on digital ads on Facebook in the key battleground states of Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And that matters because while presidential candidates across the board have so far spent $61 million on digital ads, that's at a national scale. And this state-by-state breakdown that we have in a chart on Axios matters because that's where this election will ultimately be decided, in these key battleground states.
Talk to us about how the president's aggressive spending push online is reshaping the ground game for Democrats in some of these battleground states.
You know, I think aggressive is a really good use of a word for this, because President Trump is both being aggressive and creative in the way that he is making this online ad push across Facebook, Google, and YouTube. He's really using some of these more incendiary topics, most recently on impeachment, as we all know, on Facebook, to try to raise money. But that doesn't really change things for the ground game for Democrats on the ground. It might change things for how they're advertising. So far, we're seeing Democrats like the Priorities USA group focus on more kitchen table issues like the economy or healthcare. But we've also seen folks like Elizabeth Warren, who's running for president, come out with a pretty hot ad criticizing Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook. So that sort of reflects the Trump playbook of saying whatever you want and being more aggressive and creative when you're doing digital advertising.
Hey, Alex, let me get your thoughts really quickly on the 2020 field on the Democratic side. Since the debates in Ohio last week, which candidate has been able to garner enough attention to stand out of the crowd, you think?
You know, I was in Westerville, Ohio for the debates, and when you're on the ground for these things, it feels like it's the center of the universe and like everyone is paying attention and will be for days to come. But we at Axios got some exclusive data from NewsWhip that showed that actually a lot of the debate topics didn't really break through the online noise. The stories with the most engagement online last week, according to this data, had to do with Tulsi Gabbard and her feud with Hillary Clinton, AOC endorsing Bernie Sanders at a rally last weekend, and Warren taking on the billionaires. So while both Tulsi Gabbard and Elizabeth Warren are running for president, that engagement and that online attention wasn't necessarily tied to the debates.
I quickly want to touch on the impeachment inquiry. House Intel Chair Adam Schiff taking on a very prominent role amidst the Trump impeachment inquiry. Why, Alexi, is that so significant?
If we think back to President Bill Clinton's impeachment trial, Ken Starr, the independent special counsel and investigator, was sort of the face of that inquiry and trial. Democrats haven't ruled out the fact of having an outside special counsel come to oversee this process, but they haven't had one yet. And that has sort of made Chairman Adam Schiff of the House Intel Committee the sort of de facto face of President Trump's impeachment trial. And as you alluded to, he sort of has this dual hat role that he's assuming, where he's obviously a key committee chairman, but he's also taking the role and assuming the role of the chief investigator. And I think that Democrats are really drawn to his intelligence background, and that's sort of why they're using him to so far be that sort of de facto oversight leader for this investigation.
All right, Alexi McCammond live in D.C. for us. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. We're going to be reading Axios AM in just a bit, and you too can sign up for that newsletter at signup.axios.com.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.